I'm Justin Mott and welcome to my home in Hanoi, Vietnam. And if you're new here, my channel is dedicated to all things photography from the perspective of a full-time working photographer. Today I'm going to talk about something expensive, something sexy. That's why I'm all dressed up. I'm not sexy, but I got dressed up because I put on my normal black t-shirt, my normal black hat, and this lens was like, seriously? That's all you're going to do for me? It's a premium lens, so I decided to kick it up a notch and dress premium. Today I'm going to talk about the premium lens in the Leica lineup, the Leica 50mm Noctilux 0.95 lens, coming in at a whopping $13,000. This is not an in-depth review. I'm just going to tell you how I've used it so far in the little amount of time that I've had it, and I'll end with showing you some portraits that I took with this lens. So let's get our Noctilux on. First things first, I believe in full transparency when I talk about anything gear related or I do any reviews or anything like that. I do have some affiliations and other things I don't, but I like to be upfront about what's what. So this lens, and along with some other equipment that I will be reviewing in the near future, has been loaned to me in a collaboration that I'm doing with Leica Singapore and Leica Vietnam, but they didn't reach out to me, I reached out to them, and there is no money being exchanged and there is no stipulations. Wait, what? Oh, I gotta wear the hat? Well, no, because normally I do my, like that's kind of my thing, is this like hat thing that people make fun of me for, so I normally wear that. Okay, but because you loaned me the, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Basically, I'm in full lockdown here in Hanoi, Vietnam. Can't leave the apartment building, can't go anywhere, and I'm bored, and I wanted to review some of this stuff, so I sent like a list of stuff that I wanted to review, stuff that I'm genuinely interested in. So they didn't say, okay, review this, and you have to review that. I gave them a list of stuff that I wanted to review. They said if they had it available, and they sent it to me. They didn't say like, oh, yeah, can you also do this, this, and this? No. This is all the stuff I'm interested in. I was definitely interested in this Noctilux for a long time, so I figured I'd do a quick review about it and test it out and have some fun with it because I am bored here in lockdown. Okay, I'm gonna remove this hat. That was my little spiel. Hey, I'm bald. For those of you that didn't know, I'm a bald guy. I mean, I still have some hair, but, and I don't wear the hat because I'm bald. I'm not one of those guys, but I wear this hat because like, it's kind of my look. It's kind of my thing. Gotta have a thing. This is my thing. You know, some of it's like crazy hand tattoos or a face tattoo or certain glass. Mine's a hat. Also, very practical, by the way. This hat, no brim. You ever try to use a hat as a photographer? And since I'm bald and I go out in the sun, skin cancer, gotta worry about that. Anyway, whole separate hat blog coming up soon. No, not really. So I've only used this lens for a couple days, so this is not, I'm not gonna like end this with like, this is who should buy it, you shouldn't buy it, that kind of stuff. I just will tell you my experience with it and how I used it. So first things first, I will go through some of the specs, but like I said before, this is not a tech review, this is not a in-depth review, but I'll just give you some of the basics about this lens. It comes in at a whopping $13,000. The silver edition here, which is what I have, looks awesome here with my silver M10. I think it looks awesome. But for those of you, don't worry, for those of you that can't afford that, if you're on a budget, you can also buy the black version for only $12,800. So it gives you two options there. If you don't want to go out and spend a ton of money, drop $13,000, you can go sub 13, 12.8, buy the black edition. So kind of have two different markets covered there. It is a Leica M mount lens. It works with all Leica M cameras and all Leica M adapters. It has an aperture range of f16 down to 0.95, which is crazy. 0.95, a sub. It's the first time I've ever gone sub 1. I'm a little bit nervous about it. First time I've gone sub 1 on a lens. First time, honestly, I've ever gone sub 1.2 on a lens. So it has a built-in adjustable lens hood for people that like stuff like that. That kind of stuff I don't really care about. It has 5 partial dispersion glass elements. I don't know how many normal ones have. Comes with this nice fancy box here for people that are collectors. It's like all very sexy and stuff, like hold it, but I don't, whenever I get a box, I just put it off to the side and hopefully the lens should be on the camera. But I understand this whole collector's edition, stuff like that. And also I'll say this is such a beauty of a lens, such a marvel of design and engineering, so I could see it being an amazing collector's edition. For those of you interested in that, it's a beauty and it'll hold its value as most Leica stuff does, but especially this lens right here. It might even go up in value over time You never know. So my first impressions. First thing you notice when you pick it up, it's heavy. It comes in at 700 grams. Just for comparison, this is my Leica 35 Summilux here, my favorite lens. For those of you interested in 35s, the Leica Summilux 35 1.4, not just my favorite Leica lens ever, it's my favorite lens ever. Anyone interested in that, I did a whole in-depth review about that. I'll put a link right here. Check that out because I think you'll dig it if you're a 35 person. So the size here, right? It's 700 grams, 1.5 pounds. So just in comparison, the Leica 35 is 320 grams. So it is more than double the weight of the 35 1.4. So it does feel heavy but I would say it feels heavy for a Leica lens. It doesn't feel heavy for like a lens in general. So if you're coming from a Canon system or a Nikon system or Sony, I don't think you would think it's a big deal, but if you're coming from Leica, it will definitely feel heavy. Not like disproportionately heavy, it doesn't feel bad in your hand on the lens, not like tipping forward, like it's not like that, but it does feel heavy on the hand, it does feel heavy around your neck if you're coming from a Leica system already. You're gonna notice how dense it is, but it's a whole lot of glass in there. The craftsmanship on this is absolutely stunning, it's just ridiculous. All the engravements here, you can see here, the details on that. The metal feel in your hand, the fluidness of the focus ring, the notches, you know, just the way it feels when you're changing apertures. Oh, when you go down to 0.95. And basically all the notches are top notch. They really are though, like everything in here, the craftsmanship is just, it's just built to perfection. As far as bokeh, I'm not gonna go into that because like one, I don't even like that word. Is it bokeh, is it bokeh? I don't like even talking about it. I'm not one of those bokeh people. I don't like to talk about that. I don't like to do comparison charts. You're not gonna see that. There's plenty of people that do that out there way better than me because they care about it. I don't care about it, so I'm not gonna talk about it. Who this lens is for, I'm also not gonna tell you that because I don't really believe in that. I think we're all different as photographers. Our approach, our style of photography, and the way that we shoot our pictures is all so different. I mean, take me for example. I use this Leica M10 system to shoot wildlife photojournalism. Most people shoot wildlife stories have like just like ridiculously gigantic bazooka lenses. You know what it can do, you know what it's capable of. I'm telling you about the weight, I'm telling you about the feel, I'm telling you about the price. So use your imagination and you can decide if it's good for you or not. Plus, I also don't feel qualified to really tell you because I haven't used this extensively. I've used it for a couple days and that's just not enough to know. I never, like when everyone's like, definitely buy it, I used it for 24 hours, I haven't. I've used it for a couple days and so far I dig it, that's what I can tell you. I wanted to try this out for street photography, but we're in severe lockdown. Severe lockdown? We're in like strict lockdown here in Vietnam, so I can't leave my apartment building. So I decided to just use it to take some portraits in natural light in my house, and I'll show you those pictures coming up shortly. That's all I've done with it so far, a few natural light portraits. And what I can tell you is it does feel great in the hands, everything is fluid, like I said. The images are super sharp. I've enjoyed it for portrait photography. I'm not a huge 50mm fan. I do a lot of my portraits still, even with a 35mm, but I really did enjoy the look. It has its own color rendering, which you'll see later because I'll show you the images in RAW. It has its own look to it, its own pop to it. Even though Leica has its own look to it, like the 50 has its like own look to it within the Leica system. So overall, you're like, yeah, it's a beast in low light. So if you like to shoot low light, I could see it being good for that. If you like doing portraits, it has its own distinct look to it. If you like doing like product stuff, but you don't need macro, you know, focus is decently close, 70 centimeters. So like not super close like macro, but close enough. But yeah, it's a beautifully designed lens. It's absolutely gorgeous. One downside I'll say is that because it costs so much, like I couldn't help every time I use it, I'm stressed about it. That's one bad thing. Like I am a little bit nervous. I think that would go away after some time, but like knowing how much that lens cost, I know it's weird because like this lens is over $5,000 anyways, but this lens being $13,000, like a different level of being worried. Like you're always putting the lens cap on. I'm not a lens cap guy, but I put the lens cap on this every time. I mean, because it's not mine, but even if it was mine, I think for a while I would be nervous with it. So that's it. I'm not gonna give you the answer. I'm not gonna tell you to go buy it. I'm not gonna tell you not to buy it. I enjoyed using it. Would I buy it myself? Probably not, but that's more because I'm not a 50mm person. I'm more of a 35 person. Now, if Leica made a 35mm noctilux, that would maybe be something I could like work some numbers around, you know, the count machine and see if I could figure out a way to buy it. I'll show you some portraits that I took with this and I will be completely naked. Even though I hate this, I'm gonna show you the images in RAW, untouched. I don't like this at all. It's like a weird thing for photographers. It's like being naked in front of you guys and I'm not ready to do that. I don't think you guys are ready for that. I don't think anyone really needs to see that. But I trust you enough to show you my photos naked. So, you know, but if I were you, all can aside, but if I were you and I was looking to buy a lens, like I'd like to see it untouched. So I'm gonna get rid of my ego, leave that off to the side. I'm gonna trust you guys not to tear me apart. These are just some quick portraits I took just because I know you'd like to see the color of what it looks like straight out of the camera. And I'll put the metadata. You'll notice almost everything was shot at 0.95 because I just couldn't resist to crank that dial, just because I could. Just because I could. I couldn't resist to shoot wide open, sub 1. That would be kind of a cocky thing to be like, what lens are you using? I'm using the sub 1. That's really cocky, but if I owned it, I'd probably say that. And last thing before I show you the fun part, let me know if you like this, because this is different for me. I haven't really done reviews like this, but I'm in lockdown. I do have time to do stuff like this. I do have some other equipment to check out, so let me know if there's anything you think I should add, anything I should take out, blah, blah, blah. Add it in the comment section. Be nice. I'll do my best to make those adjustments on the next video. So enough about that. Let's get our Noctilux on now.